Welcome to our deep dive into memory enhancement. That story about June we talked about, his journey was so powerful, I knew we had to explore it in a deep dive.
It is fascinating how Jin's story blends together these ancient Buddhist practices with our modern scientific understanding of how our brains work. We tend to think of memory as this fixed thing, but Jin's experience really shows us that it's a dynamic process we can actively cultivate.
Yeah, and for our listeners who haven't heard it, June is a man in his late 70s, dealing with that forgetfulness many of us experience as we age. And he's also grieving the loss of his wife, which seems to amplify his worries about, his mental sharpness fading.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is how his turning point comes from a seemingly unrelated source,
Right.
right? He meets Akira, this Buddhist monk, and is introduced to the concept of sati, or mindfulness. And this encounter sparks a huge shift in Jun's outlook and really sets him on this path of meditation and self-discovery.
It's like he finds this hidden doorway to a whole different way of thinking and being. He starts meditating daily and gradually reclaims his mental clarity. But it's not an overnight miracle, right?
No, not at all. Jun's journey really emphasizes that consistency and commitment are key.
Mm.
He does face those initial hurdles with meditation, right? But then he gradually finds more comfort in the practice, and this leads him to a pivotal decision to attend a silent retreat.
That retreat seems like a major turning point in his story. It's like he goes through a symbolic death and rebirth and comes out with this newfound peace and purpose and that mental sharpness he had been longing for. It's incredible how he goes from feeling lost and overwhelmed to becoming a source of inspiration for others facing similar challenges.
That's a really critical point. Jun's transformation isn't just about him. He feels compelled to share what he's learned and forms a meditation group specifically for older adults. He's not just improving his own memory, but empowering others to do the same.
And it doesn't even stop there. His initiative turns into something much bigger with the Renacer Dorado Foundation, which expands these practices to a wider community. It's amazing how one person's transformation can have this huge ripple effect.
It really speaks to the power of taking that initial step, even when facing obstacles that seem impossible to overcome. Jun's story is a powerful example of how personal growth can ripple outwards, impacting an entire community. Now, Jun's journey is deeply rooted in Buddhist philosophy, but many of the techniques he uses resonate with modern scientific findings about memory and brain health.
Right, and that's what I find so fascinating. It's like these ancient practices are being validated by modern science. Take brain training, for example.
Mm.
The source material mentions Sudoku crosswords and learning new skills, all of which align with what neuroscientists have discovered about neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and adapt throughout life.
It's like exercising your brain, strengthening those neural pathways. Jun even takes up calligraphy, which not only stimulates his mind, but connects him with this beautiful art form.
And speaking of strengthening, we can't forget about sleep. The source material emphasizes how important it is for memory consolidation, and June's story kind of subtly contrasts his previous struggles with sleep against the calming effects of meditation, which reminds us that sleep deprivation really hinders our ability to form and retain memories.
And it's not just about Jun's personal experience. Research shows that during sleep, our brains are busy processing and consolidating information we've encountered throughout the day. If you don't get enough sleep, this essential process is disrupted.
So basically, getting enough sleep is like hitting save on all those new memories you've made. And then there's mindfulness and concentration, which seem to be the very heart of June's transformation.
Absolutely. Remember sati, the mindfulness concept Akira introduced? Well, the source material really emphasizes mindfulness as crucial for sharpening memory. And Jun's practice of vipassana meditation, where he learns to quiet the mind and focus on the present moment, really illustrates this beautifully.
It's like he's decluttering his mental space, clearing out all the noise to make room for greater clarity and awareness.
And here's where the connection to modern science gets really interesting. Research has shown that mindfulness meditation, like vipassana, can lead to structural changes in the brain. For example, studies have found increases in gray matter density in the hippocampus, a brain region essential for memory formation in individuals who regularly practice mindfulness.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like mindfulness is literally reshaping the physical structure of the brain to support better memory function. So it's not just some fluffy feel-good practice, it's having tangible, measurable effects.
Exactly. It speaks to the powerful mind-body connection at play here. Now, shifting gears a bit, the source material also connects physical activity to brain health. We see this in Jun's transition from a more sedentary lifestyle to taking on active roles at the temple.
So it's not just mental workouts, we need to move our bodies too.
Precisely. Studies have shown that exercise, particularly cardiovascular activities, improves blood flow to the brain, which brings oxygen and nutrients to those hardworking brain cells.
It's like giving your brain a refreshing boost of energy. And speaking of nourishing the brain, the source material also mentions the role of an antioxidant-rich diet in protecting brain cells from damage.
Right, antioxidants help combat oxidative stress, a process linked to age-related cognitive decline and diseases like Alzheimer's. While the story doesn't explicitly detail June's diet, it hints at the potential benefits of a more traditional, possibly plant-based diet, often rich in antioxidants, through the mention of tea ceremonies and temple meals.
Those traditional Japanese tea ceremonies come to mind.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not just about what you eat, but also the mindful rituals surrounding the experience.
That's an interesting connection. The act of preparing and consuming food mindfully can certainly enhance its benefits. Now, the source material also encourages us to pay attention to our natural rhythms, suggesting we identify our personal peak performance times for demanding cognitive tasks. This resonates with June's newfound energy and ability to take on new activities after he starts meditating regularly.
So it's about working with your body's natural clock rather than against it. That makes a lot of sense. Paying attention to when we feel most alert and focused can help us optimize our productivity.
Absolutely. It's all about self-awareness and understanding your own internal rhythms. Now, another fascinating technique mentioned is the use of visual mnemonics. This involves creating vivid images and stories to help remember information.
That reminds me of memory palaces, where you imagine placing objects you need to remember in different rooms of a familiar building.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating to consider how this technique might connect to the intricate visual symbolism found in Buddhist art and mandalas, which June would have been exposed to at the temple.
Those intricate visuals could serve as powerful memory anchors. I'm sensing a theme here. Engaging your mind in different ways through images, stories, and physical sensations helps make memories stick. And speaking of engaging the mind, the source material also talks about journaling and gratitude.
Yes. Writing down your experiences, thoughts, and feelings not only helps consolidate memories, but also promotes self-reflection. And expressing gratitude has been shown to positively impact emotional well-being, which indirectly supports cognitive function.
It seems like June's practice of calligraphy beautifully combines these elements. It's a way to express himself artistically while also documenting his journey and reflecting on his experiences. It's like weaving together art, mindfulness, and memory all in one.
That's a wonderful way to put it. So far, we've covered a lot of ground. I'm curious what stands out to you most from June's story and these various memory enhancement techniques we've discussed.
What really resonates with me is that improving memory isn't just about cramming information. It's about cultivating a state of being, a sense of presence, focus, and gratitude. It's like approaching memory enhancement from the inside out.
That's a really insightful observation. It's not just about external techniques, but about creating an internal environment that fosters memory function. June's journey embodies that shift beautifully.
And you know what else is striking? June, at almost 80 years old, proves it's never too late to learn new things and improve your cognitive abilities.
Yeah.
It challenges the misconception that cognitive decline is inevitable with age.
Absolutely. June's story empowers us to take a more active role in shaping our cognitive health.
It's not just about staving off decline either, right? It's about flourishing, about embracing new challenges and expanding our horizons.
Yeah.
June's decision to teach meditation to other seniors demonstrates this beautifully. He's not just surviving, he's thriving.
Exactly. It highlights the potential for growth and contribution at any stage of life. And the ripple effect of his initiative leading to the creation of the René Dorado Foundation is a testament to the transformative power of sharing knowledge and experience.
His story is truly inspiring. It's like a roadmap for aging gracefully and embracing the fullness of life.
It encourages us to look beyond quick fixes and consider a holistic approach to memory enhancement that incorporates mindfulness, physical well-being, and a genuine desire to connect with ourselves and others.
So for our listeners who are eager to boost their own memory power, where do they even begin?
June's story reminds us that there's no one-size-fits-all solution. Just as he had to discover what worked best for him, so too will each individual need to find their own path. The key is to experiment with different techniques and see what resonates.
But June's journey gives us a fantastic starting point. He shows us that small steps taken consistently can lead to remarkable changes.
Precisely. Whether it's incorporating a few minutes of mindfulness practice into your day, exploring brain training games, or simply prioritizing a good night's sleep, the key is to choose what feels right for you and commit to it.
And it's not about achieving perfection, it's about making progress. Embrace the journey of discovery, just as June did.
And who knows, maybe along the way you'll uncover hidden potential within yourself, just as June unlocked his own memory potential and went on to inspire countless others.
Before we wrap up this first part of our deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question based on June's experience.
The story highlights how transformative Jin's silent retreat was. He was able to disconnect from the external world and delve deep into his inner landscape. Could incorporating even brief periods of digital detox or quiet contemplation into your own life unlock similar potential for clarity and insight?
That's definitely something to ponder as we move into the next part of this deep dive.
Welcome back to our deep dive into memory enhancement. It's been so interesting unpacking Joan's story and those surprising connections between ancient practices and modern science.
Yeah, Gene's story has really stuck with me. It's just amazing how he turned his struggle with memory loss into an opportunity for growth, not just for himself, but for his entire community.
It really speaks to the power of, reframing challenges as opportunities for learning and transformation. And one of the most powerful tools June embraces is mindfulness, particularly the practice of Vipassana meditation. It's like woven throughout his whole journey and plays a central role in his transformation.
Yeah, you mentioned Vipassana earlier, but I'd love to hear more about it. What exactly does this practice involve?
So Vipassana translates to insight or seeing things as they really are. And it's this ancient meditation technique that involves cultivating focused attention on the present moment, particularly on the sensations of your breath.
So it's not about emptying your mind, but more about observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment.
Exactly. It's about becoming a detached observer of your internal experience. Through consistent practice, June learns to quiet all that mental chatter and cultivate a sense of clarity and stability.
It sounds like it requires a lot of discipline and patience.
It does, but as June's story shows us, the benefits are really worth the effort. Even incorporating short bursts of Vipassana throughout your day can have a ripple effect on your overall well-being. He reports feeling less anxious, more focused, and better equipped to handle daily challenges.
And there's a growing body of scientific research that backs up these anecdotal experiences too. Studies have shown that mindfulness meditation like Vipassana can actually increase gray matter density in brain regions associated with memory learning and emotional regulation.
It's like strength training for your brain, but from the inside out. These findings really underscore the impact that mental practices can have on the physical structure and function of our brains.
It's fascinating how these ancient practices are now being validated by modern science. It's like we're rediscovering the wisdom that's been passed down for generations.
Absolutely. And June's story highlights how we can integrate these practices into our modern lives in ways that benefit us mentally and physically. Now, beyond Vipassana, June also learns a variety of other memory techniques from Akira. The source material mentions quite a toolbox of different approaches.
Yeah, the one that really caught my eye was visual mnemonics. I remember you mentioning memory palaces earlier. Can you elaborate on how this technique works?
Sure. So visual mnemonics involve creating vivid images and stories to help you remember information. It's about making the information more engaging and memorable by tapping into our visual and imaginative faculties.
So instead of trying to remember a boring list of items, you create a mental image that links those items together in a more meaningful and memorable way.
Precisely. The source material gives the example of using this technique for a shopping list. So instead of just trying to remember detergent carrots milk, you might imagine an elephant bathing in a pool of detergent and then using a giant carrot as a scrub brush and finally guzzling down a gallon of milk.
That's such a funny image.
Ah,
I can definitely see how that would be easier to remember than a plain list of words.
exactly. And it speaks to the power of storytelling and narrative and how we learn and remember information. Humans are wired for stories, and by weaving information into a narrative, we can tap into that innate capacity for memory.
Another technique that I was interested in was journaling as a memory tool. How does that work?
Journaling can be incredibly beneficial for memory consolidation.
All
By
right.
writing down your experiences and thoughts, you're essentially creating a tangible record of your memories, strengthening those neural pathways.
It's like taking mental snapshots and then developing those images into lasting prints.
That's a great analogy. And it's not just about recording facts either. Journaling allows you to explore your emotions and thoughts associated with those experiences, which deepens your understanding and makes those memories even more vivid and lasting.
And in Jun's case, his practice of calligraphy adds another dimension to journaling. It's like a form of mindful writing, where the act of creating those beautiful characters adds another layer of engagement and meaning.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful example of how we can personalize these practices and integrate them into our lives in ways that feel authentic and meaningful. It's about finding what speaks to you.
The source material also highlights the importance of identifying our peak performance times. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. So it emphasizes tuning into your natural rhythms and aligning your most demanding cognitive tasks with your periods of highest alertness and focus. Some people are at their best early in the morning while others thrive late at night. The key is to experiment and discover what works best for you.
It's about working with your body's natural energy cycles instead of fighting against them.
Exactly. It's about becoming aware of your internal rhythms and using that knowledge to optimize your cognitive function. Now, remember how June's journey began with his fear of dementia and cognitive decline? The source material also addresses those lifestyle factors that can either support or hinder brain health.
Right, we talked about the benefits of exercise and an antioxidant-rich diet earlier, but it's not just about adding good things, right? It's also about minimizing those bad habits that can harm our brains.
Precisely. Regular physical activity and a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and other nutrient-dense foods provide your brain with the fuel it needs to function optimally. Conversely, habits like excessive alcohol consumption and smoking have been shown to have detrimental effects on brain health.
It's like creating a healthy ecosystem for your brain to thrive in.
Exactly. And the good news is it's never too late to make positive changes. June's story demonstrates the brain's incredible capacity for adaptation and improvement even in later life.
It's inspiring to see how he takes control of his health and well-being, defying those stereotypes about aging. It reminds us that we have more agency over our cognitive health than we might realize.
Absolutely. And it's not just about individual transformation. June's decision to share what he's learned and create a meditation group for other seniors speaks to the power of community in supporting cognitive health.
Yes, it highlights the importance of social engagement and meaningful interactions in keeping our minds sharp and engaged. It's not just about what we do individually, but about the connections we forge and the support systems we cultivate.
Exactly. And the fact that his initiative blossoms into the Renacer Dorado Foundation, reaching countless others, underscores the profound impact that one person's commitment to sharing their knowledge and experience can have.
It's a beautiful reminder that we are all interconnected and that our actions can ripple outward, creating positive change that extends far beyond ourselves.
It's a powerful message of hope and possibility. Now, as we move towards the final part of our deep dive, I'm curious to hear what aspects of June's journey resonate most with you. What insights or practices have stood out to you?
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive. It's been amazing exploring June's story and all these fascinating memory techniques we've talked about.
You know what's really striking is how June's story shows that personal transformation can ripple outward and inspire others. What's so powerful about this final part of his journey is how he decides to share this newfound knowledge with other people. He doesn't just keep it to himself.
Yeah, it's like his own transformation fuels this act of service, right? He creates a meditation group specifically for seniors because he really understands how many people are struggling with feelings of isolation and memory loss and the fear of decline.
And what's remarkable is how his own personal experience becomes his greatest asset.
Right.
Because he can connect with his students on such a deeper level, offering them hope and encouragement based on his own journey through those same challenges.
It's not even just teaching techniques. It's about creating a space for shared experience and support.
Exactly. And the source material actually highlights how those group members experience benefits beyond just memory improvement. They report feeling less anxious, more connected, and more optimistic about life. It's like they rediscover a sense of belonging and purpose.
Right. And it speaks to the power of community. Sometimes just knowing you're not alone in your struggles can make such a difference.
Absolutely. Shared experiences can help people become more resilient and empower them to face those challenges with more confidence. And this is where June's initiative expands even further, right? The Renacer Dorado Foundation is created, which extends the reach of these practices and impacts a much wider community.
It's incredible how one person's passion and commitment can create this ripple effect that reaches far beyond their immediate circle.
Yeah, it's a testament to the power of sharing knowledge and empowering others. June's story really shows how individual actions can create lasting change and inspire entire communities.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some key takeaways our listeners can learn from Joan's inspiring journey?
I think first and foremost, it's that it's never too late to start on a path of self-improvement and growth. Regardless of your age or circumstances, we all have the ability to learn, adapt, and evolve.
It's about embracing that journey, not striving for perfection, right?
Precisely. Whether it's incorporating meditation or exploring brain training games, prioritizing sleep, or any other technique we've talked about, the key is to find what feels right for you and commit to taking small, consistent steps.
And we shouldn't forget about the power of community and connection, too. Finding other people who share your goals can provide so much support and encouragement along the way.
Definitely. Shared journeys can really amplify our individual efforts and inspire us to reach new heights. Remember enhancing your memory isn't just about remembering facts and figures. It's about cultivating a vibrant, engaged mind that's open to new experiences and possibilities.
And ultimately, it's about living a richer, fuller life, just like Jin. His story inspires us to embrace the fullness of life and never stop learning and growing.
Beautifully said. As we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought. Jin's story highlights how transformative it can be to share our knowledge and experiences. So how might you use your own unique gifts and insights to make a positive impact on the world around you?
That is such a great question to reflect on. It reminds us that we all have something valuable to offer, and that even small acts of kindness and sharing can ripple outwards, creating positive change that goes far beyond ourselves.
Absolutely. May Jun's journey inspire you to embrace the fullness of life, cultivate a vibrant mind, and share your own light with the world. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
We hope you found it insightful and empowering. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a fascinating new topic, so stay tuned.